Welcome back. Today I'm going to be making Bretzen, a German pretzel that I have eaten in Bavaria many times and is super delicious. Some stuff goes wrong today, so you can look forward to that. First, we're going to add 1 tablespoon dark brown sugar, 2 tablespoons soft and salted butter, 2 tablespoons yeast, 2 cups warm water, and then 3 cups flour to this bowl. Stirring it until it's just mixed, and then switching to a dough hook. At some point here, I realized that I was probably mixing it for a little bit too long. I was supposed to add 1.5 tablespoons of kosher salt and 3 cups flour, and then kneading for 8 to 10 minutes in the dough hook. So here I am adding those things now a little bit after the fact. It did mess up the texture a bit, but we're going to switch to the camera audio because something real interesting is about to happen. Oh my god. And then I turned it back on, as if the problem had been fixed. It hadn't. I realized I needed to do something different, so I used my spatula to help not have the flour spew everywhere like it just did. It's a little hard to tell with the sped up video, but my mixer couldn't really handle that quantity of dough. It was pretty unhappy with it, so I finished up kneading on the counter. And I ended up using that flour that spilled everywhere on the counter, so, you know, it's a win-win. And by that I mean the flour didn't go to waste, and you got to watch me make a big mess. I know that's why you're here. I have no idea if my kneading technique is good or not, but it works for me. I did knead it probably a little bit more than I should have because I didn't feel like the springiness of the dough was where it should be, and that's probably because that I messed up adding things in the wrong order and stuff. So if you do it right, I think it turns out a lot better. When I decided I was done kneading, I split my dough with this bench scraper into about 12 pieces. I think I did 16 instead of 12. It depends on how large you want your Bretzen to be. Now for the fun, but also a little bit difficult part, rolling it into the shape you want. So for most of these, since my dough was not springy like it really was supposed to be, it was kind of difficult to roll it into the shape I needed. So I made them into little Bretzen knots instead of into the typical pretzels you're used to. So that's what they look like. They still taste delicious, and they're really cute and a lot easier than trying to make the proper Bretzen. But of course, I did my best attempt at making the Bretzen pretzel shape that I could. So you kind of taper the ends really, really thin, and it should be pretty long in order to get those nice crispy arms that you get to eat once it's cooked. So mine wasn't quite long enough, but it is the shape that it's supposed to be. So you can use this technique, and if you make your dough better than I made mine, you'll probably have a little more success. I grabbed a bit of water to help stick the dough together. That way it'll keep the shape when you're cooking it later. Once you're done shaping the dough, you're going to let it rest at room temperature for 30 minutes and then refrigerate for at least 1 hour or overnight. And there they are. The next step is to boil some water with about 1/4 cup of baking soda. And you want to have your salt handy. And then we're going to dunk each pretzel in for 10 to 15 seconds on each side. I did a few at a time, and then I sprinkled them with the salt to finish. The reason we're doing this baking soda bath is to make sure that all of the pretzels get a nice brown, dark, crispy crust on them. It's part of what makes Bretzen so delicious. This is a pretty time-consuming recipe, but it is really fun to make them and have them, and especially eat them. Now we stick them in the oven at 425 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes. The baking tray on the lower rack didn't get as dark as the ones on the top, so I left them in a little bit longer in order to get a darker brown color. You can avoid having to do this by switching which rack the trays are on halfway through the baking time. Would you look at those beauties? They didn't turn out perfectly, but they did still taste delicious, and I'm happy that I made them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.